You know that feeling, right? When well, someone you trusted or maybe just wanted to believe in, just they fall short.
Hmm.
Or worse, they frustrate you, maybe even hurt you. It's such a common thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
How do you keep faith in people when, their actions sometimes make it just incredibly hard? I think we've all been there,
Yeah,
feeling let down. And you're clearly grappling with this exact idea.
absolutely. And what's really fascinating and what this deep dive into these sources really shows is that the secret to believing in other people, well, it isn't actually about them. Not really.
Yeah.
It starts with something profoundly transformative, but also incredibly practical. Believing in yourself.
All right.
And this isn't just some, feel-good saying. The sources lay it out like a direct path to building up serious inner strength.
Okay, that immediately hooks me.
Right.
Because, so many of us are always looking outwards, right, for solutions to these interpersonal problems. But you're saying the answer is actually internal. Okay, let's unpack this. So we're going to explore how building this belief in yourself creates this incredible inner strength, like born from compassion, patience, emotional control.
Exactly.
And then see how that completely shifts
Yeah.
how you interact with, well, everyone. This is where it gets really interesting, isn't it? It's not just theory.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the kind of bigger picture, this inner strength, it gives you the ability to genuinely forgive.
Forgive. Okay, how are we defining that here?
Well, what forgive means in this context, based on the sources, isn't really about like excusing bad behavior.
Okay.
It means stopping putting so much weight, so much importance on other people's failures or their rudeness or just their thoughtlessness.
Right. Detaching from the impact a bit.
Precisely. The key insight is realizing that other people's reactions, they're usually based on their perspective, their stuff, their mood.
Not necessarily objective reality.
Exactly. And almost certainly not a direct personal attack on you, even if it feels like it sometimes. This totally shifts the focus onto your internal processing. You learn, okay, I can't really depend on anything outside myself because, well, it's outside my direct control.
Makes sense.
But what you can control is how you perceive things, how you deal with them, how you respond, and understanding that it empowers us to be proactive in life, not just constantly reacting.
That is a huge shift.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us, it feels counterintuitive.
Yeah.
So much of how we're raised, the media, social circles, it pushes our thinking outwards.
Yeah,
Because when you
absolutely.
look for definitions from outside, the external world often feels like it defines our internal experience. But the trick, the kind of game changer here, according to these sources, is taking back the power of defining life, putting it back into your own internal processor. How do we do that, though? What is an internal processor in this context? And how do you return power to it? That sounds a bit abstract.
That's a great question, and it gets to that fast food answer idea. Think of your internal processor as like your unique brain filter, or maybe your personal GPS for life.
Okay, like a filter. Got it.
Yeah, it's where all the outside information gets sort of intuitively deep processed against your goals, your values, your life experiences, nobody else's.
Right.
So when you return the power to it, you're consciously deciding to filter everything through your personal truth, not what someone else thinks or says.
So, for instance,
For instance, you then define external variables, like other people's opinions or actions, theirs, after you run it through your own thinking.
your own internal calculation.
Exactly, your native thinking. This way, your actions are guided by your own wisdom, not just random chance or, whatever someone else throws at you.
So you don't just react.
You proact. You take that moment, sit with the data, filter it through your own trained reasoning, which is really just consciously applying your values and goals before you respond. Life isn't just randomly happening to you. You're consciously engaging with it from a place of control.
Okay. So if we're giving others a bit of a break for their maybe lack of compassion sometimes by trying to understand their perspective, it sounds like it's even more important to give yourself a break from getting upset at them
Yes.
or about them.
Yes. Crucially important.
Because that kind of outward-focused negative thinking, it can just spiral, can it? Become really draining for you.
Totally.
The sources remind us, we are kind of frail. Even strong people have weak moments, and vice versa.
That's right. We all do.
This journey of self-mastery sounds, well, challenging at first, but definitely worth it. So what does that self-mastery look like in practice when other people are just being difficult?
It's exactly that shift. When you place the responsibility for faith, for belief, firmly in yourself, you are suddenly 100% in control of your perceptions. 100%.
Okay. People essentially become variables. Some are worth your deep thought, your energy. Others just aren't.
Right.
If someone isn't good for you, or if their actions consistently cause you distress, you cultivate this inner state where you just stop caring enough to torture yourself about it.
Instead of agonizing.
You just detach. Simple as that. And if they are good for you, you guard your thoughts, meaning you consciously choose to focus on the good stuff, the healthy parts of the relationship.
Okay. And if red flags pop up?
Then, instead of letting those red flags consume your mind, replaying them over and over.
Which is so easy to do.
Oh, so easy. Instead, you actively work to eliminate those unproductive thoughts. You create emotional distance. You manage your internal state.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, what about those really challenging types, like narcissists, people who seem to thrive on getting a reaction? How do these ideas apply there?
Narcissists are actually a perfect case study for this. The sources suggest politeness can be surprisingly powerful.
Politeness?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they often expect you to lose control, to get emotional. Politeness coupled with indifference. It kind of cuts them off at the knees.
So indifference is key.
Total indifference. Don't give them any undeserved attention. Don't dignify their indignation or their attempts to provoke with a response. Not even, and this is crucial, not even in your own head.
Not even in your head. Okay, that's the hard part.
That is the hard part. It means when they try to push your buttons, you refuse to engage in that internal argument. You don't keep replaying the scene in your mind.
You stop the mental loop.
Exactly. In those situations, it's not really them you need to worry about controlling. It's your own reactive thoughts, your potential responses, your actions, and avoiding that spiral of overthinking.
It sounds incredibly liberating, actually, to be able to just control your thoughts like that. But it also sounds like a massive task.
It is a skill, for sure.
What are some of the first, practical steps the sources suggest for someone trying to get a handle on this?
Well, fundamentally, it's realizing that you are the one who allows thoughts to develop that make you feel weak, not other people.
Okay, ownership.
Right. The key is controlling your thoughts and realizing not everything needs a response. You always, always have the option not to respond.
The power of non-reaction.
Precisely. And a simple technique, which I like, is the 3-second pause.
The 3-second pause.
Yeah. Before reacting to anything you perceive as a slight or a challenge, just take a silent 3-second breath.
Just 3 seconds.
Just 3 seconds. It's tiny, but it gives your internal processor that little moment it needs to kick in. It lets you choose a conscious response instead of just a knee-jerk reaction.
That sounds doable. Hard, but doable.
It's definitely a challenging skill to master, no doubt. But it starts with getting more education about yourself, understanding cause and effect through, struggle and growth.
Experience.
And consistent practice and experience, yeah. And all of this, as one source put it really beautifully, it roots in knowing yourself.
Knowing yourself so well that you are a contrast to everything else. That quote really stood out. It's powerful.
It really is.
This deep self-knowledge. It sounds like that's the key to becoming encrypted, as you put it earlier. What does that look like practically? How does someone become, mentally unbreakable, like their emotional keyboard is off limits?
It means your inner self becomes so secure. It's like data protected by really strong encryption. External negativity just can't get through. It bounces off. Other people's opinions, their anger, their narcissism, it just can't affect you because you refuse to let them think for you.
Right, you're not giving them access.
Exactly. When we say they can't access your emotional keyboard, we mean you've literally removed their ability to type feelings like anger or frustration directly into your system.
Wow.
You become mentally unbreakable, resilient, empowered. And you do all this not by trusting them more,
but by trusting yourself more.
Precisely. It's about knowing your values so deeply, so clearly that you can instantly filter what aligns with you and what doesn't, and then act from that place.
I can definitely relate to that feeling of overthinking, letting all the external chaos dictate your internal peace. It really sounds like simplifying things is the ultimate goal here.
Exactly. That's a huge part of it. One insight from the sources really resonated with me. Someone was thinking about why their life felt so peaceful after years of what felt like trauma.
Yeah.
And they realized, wait, nothing actually happened to me in the way I thought. I just finally figured out how I was getting in my own way.
Wow. That's a perspective shift.
Isn't it? Life can feel incredibly complicated, right? So much noise, so much going on. But the real trick, the thing that leads to a completely different outcome, is simplifying.
How do you simplify without becoming, naive or ignorant?
Good question. It's not about ignorance. It's about learning to decode life, to react decisively when needed and adapt with precision. You see things clearly.
So it's less about being afraid of things.
And more about becoming brave enough to face them head on, and brave enough to change the karma, meaning your reactions in real time.
Okay. And what about that mental chemistry of cause and effect you mentioned before? How does that fit in?
That's about becoming really adept at seeing how things work internally, understanding that every stimulus triggers a predictable chain reaction inside you. The mental chemistry. For example, realizing that their anger doesn't automatically have to cause your anger, it just provides the stimulus, the spark.
But your internal processing determines the fire, or lack thereof.
Precisely. You dictate the outcome. When you truly grasp how simple life is at its core, that you control your internal landscape, you start to eliminate the overthinking. You simplify your own thought processes.
And this internal strength, it breeds patience.
It really does, because when you trust your own processing, you can allow others their own messy journey without needing to jump in and react immediately.
And compassion.
Compassion grows when you realize everyone, including yourself, is just navigating life through their own, often limited lens, their own filter.
Right.
You stop allowing the world to dictate your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings. Instead, you start to feel anchored, secure. Whatever happens, you know you'll figure out how to see the forest for the trees.
That fast food answer, yielding warrior strength with peace of mind.
That's the promise of it, yes. Incredible results from a seemingly simple shift.
So, okay, let's loop back to wrap up our mission here and what this all means for you listening right now. The core takeaway from this deep dive seems crystal clear. The path to truly believing in other people, it actually starts with an unwavering faith in yourself.
It has to.
It's this journey, right? Cultivating inner strength, taking real control of your thoughts, simplifying how you see the world. And all that leads to becoming, well, anchored, resilient, no matter the situation.
And if we connect this to that bigger picture again, maybe consider this idea. What if things you previously labeled as trauma were actually part of a learning process, a process where you discovered how you were perhaps getting in your own way? It raises a really provocative question for you to think about. What does it truly mean in your day-to-day life to become mentally unbreakable, to be encrypted?
Yeah.
And how might seeing yourself as the ultimate point of control completely redefine challenges you used to see as purely external?
Exactly. Really consider how this kind of deep dive into self-mastery could transform your ability to handle even the trickiest relationships, the most complex situations.
Yeah.
It's about simplifying those thought processes to get what these sources beautifully called warrior strength with peace of mind. And, always trying to figure out how to see the forest for the trees.